Hello, good evening and welcome to the Red Reaction after Liverpool stunk the gaff out against Newcastle with a 0-0 draw. I'm your host, Keith, and it's just me and Grizz tonight. How are you, Grizz?
Yeah.
Just talk there for a minute, Grizz. I just have to do something very quickly.
Yeah, go for it, man.
We'll get the admin out of the way. This show's brought to you by Footy Prizes. This week's prize is Trent Alexander-Arnold signed frame shirt, authenticity, certificate of authenticity supplied, all that good stuff. We decided to let the game finish and let the emotions die down before we came on air, Grizz, didn't we? We said sometimes you can come on and the emotions can be running high, but we like to say on this show, we try to give ourselves a few minutes and see what we can do. But look, we're here now. We're here to talk about it all. Plenty of talking points for what was a good hour game of football. But look, it is what it is.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I do agree that we do normally like to sort of give ourselves time to calm down and think and sort of contemplate. But I don't think we needed much calming down in terms of, I don't know if our views or opinions would be much different from what they are right now. Another opportunity to pull away gone, Keith. I think it was another lackluster from start to finish. Okay, we maybe pushed when Thiago came on, but we just couldn't get going tonight. And I suppose we can start off with the selections and you know, Klopp is the reason for that sort of slow tempo by picking the team he picked. I don't know what you think.
Yeah, we'll come on to the team now, Grizz, actually, while we're on it. So the selection comes out. Immediately, the ones that jump out on it are Nat Phillips is starting at centre back and James Milner is in the midfield. Now, what did you make of the selection before we get stuck into them? What did you make of that when you seen the first?
Yeah, so Keith, we done the preview last night, and I kind of said it's going to be Phillips, and it made sense in terms of Callum Wilson and Joe Linton are very strong, tall, powerful, and you know I hate being right all the time. You know that.
That's a hard
but I said they're going to go two up front. Yeah. You know, Gav was thinking they're going to play so deep and sort of, you know, one up front. Well, I knew they're going to play two up front, and they're going to think they've got enough to create a chance or two, which fair play to them. They did in that opening first 20 minutes or so. You know, when Callum Wilson got sort of managed to isolate Phillips. And just sort of breezed past him, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I didn't like the selection from the start, and I made my feelings clear to you in our private chats in the WhatsApp. I said I don't understand how Jones is playing again after the performance he put in, especially the mistake. Sometimes kids need to be pulled out, and you know, not so much sort of. Not only to sort of teach them a lesson, but sort of in terms of just watch professionals like sort of Junior Henderson or Thiago, for example, how they, you know, how the way they come across on the pitch, the way they perform on the pitch. And because it's still an education for Curtis Jones, we have to remember he's still a kid. He's still learning. So I didn't understand the selection of Curtis Jones. I thought if Milner's going to come into the midfield, as I suspected last night again, the viewers will know I said Milner's got this. I then thought the third midfielder would be far more attacking, a la Ox or Shaqiri. but it was Jones. And Jones is another one who likes coming deep to collect the ball, Keith. And this was a major issue in the speed of our play, I thought.
Yeah, it's very true, very true. It was one noticeable in the first half. I think Jones picked her up in the second half a bit, that he did try to move it a bit quicker. But, you know, I was full of praise for Curtis Jones a couple of weeks ago. I thought he was really stepping up to the plate. And it just goes to show two let's say, poor performances. You know, let's not dress her up. Or I'm not going to big Curtis Jones up when he has a good performance, not a great performance, and then let him away with it when he has a below par one. But he's 19 years old. He's going to have these dips, and it dips in form as they go. And it's about just, I suppose, using the midfield a bit more. Now, the only thing is, we do have a lot of bodies to come back, and they're starting to come back, and you just hope that you will see more rotation as it goes along. But Harry's throwing a super chat in there, Grizz, right? We'll start off on this, and thanks very much, Harry. Man U are in a title race. Liverpool fans looking good. Man U are in a title race. Liverpool fans looking good at the moment. Liverpool are bottling the easy teams: Brighton, Newcastle, West Brom, etc. Now, right, you can't argue with that. We're not getting wins against the so-called lesser teams in the league. There's no getting away from that, Grizz. What do you put it down to? Do you think we're bottling it, as Harry says, or what do you think it is?
It's not bottling, Keith. Nearly called you Gav there. What a horrendous night. That would have topped it off for you.
Just
fuck's
fold
sake.
it.
Do you know what I mean? Just fucking fold it. Yeah, it's 10 right there if I call you Gav. Keith, what do we put it down to? Keith, it's very... Look, we can get emotional, we can get frustrated, and we can get, really angry at times with this team. But the facts of the matter are, Keith, it's a horrendous season for everyone in terms of the congestion, the fixture pile-up, the COVID, the injuries, especially for us. And you could see, some of our players are out on their feet. I mean, our two talisman, Mane and Salah, look absolutely out of it. I mean, we known them for the last 3-4 years to be absolutely non-stop. Even when they're having a crap game, they're non-stop. They're incessant. They don't let you, even if they're having they can't trap a ball and they're missing chances after chances, but they'll still keep coming. We didn't see that. The intensity wasn't there. Bobby, again, I thought was the best player for us.
Yeah.
I thought Bobby was, some of his touch and some of his passing was exemplary. But we just look tired. These injuries, people often talk about injuries and say, well, okay, we've got the injuries, but the 11 we've got are good enough to play and beat the teams we've played. It doesn't work like that. It just doesn't work like that. The continuous minutes that these guys have had and have had to endure, it takes its toll. And you could see some of these guys were out on their feet. Players like Jordan Henderson. Ginny was rightly taken out of the firing line. And I thought, Ox, he's been in training for 4 weeks now. He's got to be thrown in there and given a chance. I couldn't understand.
As well, hasn't he? Klopp has been doing a lot of talking about how well he's. I thought he was nailed on to start now myself.
Yeah.
But do you think Man U, on Harry's other point, Man U are in a title race? Where do you stand on that? Look, I know we've been flippant about them and we've maybe rubbished them before. Do you think they're a real threat to us, or how do you see this season fold now? Because there could be another lockdown coming.
Keith, how dare we? We can't ever be arrogant enough. And this is what I'm not. Yeah. I never get to this level of, we joke around between ourselves and say, whoever scores the first goal in any Premier League game we're watching, and they're the threat. But there is no way we can not count anyone as a threat right now. Not based on our not based on their quality, but based on how we're playing. Because we've said it many times, the destiny of this title is in our hands. And it's still in our hands. So, we're the ones that can lose this as opposed to anyone else winning this. And that's my philosophy and theory. And Man United are one of those teams, Keith, that are sticking in there.
Anyone, I suppose anyone can do it, can't they? It's anyone's league. I think that's going to come down to the team that gets the most luck in the second half of the season are the ones that are going to win it. And we certainly haven't got the luck in the first half of the season. Ramez throws in a super chat. Thanks very much, Ramez. Horrible result. The away form is terrible. Lost 8 out of 12. Lost 8 of 12 points against the bottom 5 teams. No creativity against the low block teams. Doesn't look well at all. Look, Ramez, my opinion on that is it doesn't look well. I agree with you 100%. But we're going through a phase now where we've hit the wall, and me and Grizz were talking about this. We're starting to look human, and I think we've been spoiled for the best part of 2 years by this team, by their superhuman, subhuman sort of
absolutely
levels of, turning defeats into wins.
Yeah.
And something great that I wanted to touch on, that was based, and I know you're going to agree with me on this, last season and the year before was based on solid defensive foundation, right? So Virgil van Dijk and Joe Gomez, or Virgil van Dijk and Joel Matip, or Virgil van Dijk and whoever else was in there, right? To suffer the losses we've had in defense, it's not an easy one just to brush off and say, well, I know City, we said City used the excuse of missing Laporte, but to miss your 2 main centre-halves for 2 horrific sort of injuries like that, the fact that we're still in the mix here, I think bodes well for us, because I think we're stinking it out at the moment. But, once we start getting these bodies back, now we're not going to get Joe Gomez back. We may see Virgil before the end of the season, but to lose that solid base, I think, is the biggest crutch that we have. Yet we're still somehow we're there and thereabouts. Do you know what I mean?
I can't think of a. And you're the man that I posed this question to. I personally can't think of a team that's won the league that's not been brilliant in defense or had a brilliant season of defensive displays. So people could say Leicester weren't brilliant in defense, but they were brilliant that season. As a collective, they may not have the best individuals that season, but as a collective, they were fantastic in defense. And then you can go through all the other teams, and including your Man Cities, who were brilliant going forward, but they were so strong in defense with Company, etc. We can't. People want to brush off, especially opposing fans want to brush off our injuries and say, well, you've still got Thiago and Jota and all these other players. Well, it doesn't quite work like that. Those players that I've named have been out as well, so that doesn't help. And B, look, in so many games where we've taken the lead, we've not been able to hold on to that lead where we were last season. And so many times last season, Virgil van Dijk or Joe Gomez were the difference, in keeping that clean sheet and not. And these are the fine margins we're dealing with. And as you said, we're mere mortals now. We're not superhuman Liverpool that won the title by this time last season. Basically, this time last season, the title was wrapped up.
Yeah,
and people
genuinely, the Leicester game on Boxing Day
it was all over bar the shouting. We were unbeatable. We were Supermen last season, and now we're normal.
Yeah,
we're just normal. We're just normal players. We've been dragged down not through our shitness, but through injuries. And that's the basic truth of it. People need to accept that we've been dragged down because of the fact that we've got crippling injuries in this first third of the season now, maybe. I don't know where we are, the first third, it's been like unprecedented amount of injuries and
the key players and key components.
Key components. I mean, it's like Jota. That game was made for Jota to come on and get that winner. But this is the thing, I haven't got it.
Dead right. Jota comes in, Grizz, and Jota is the 45 million pound striker we bring in to alleviate the pressure off the front three. Jota's gone for 2 months. Pressure is back on. Now we can go down the route of Klopp is overplaying them and he's not giving the others a chance. But the reality is it's the front three and Jota, and then Minamino, Shaqiri can go in and do a job. But to lose Jota is a key loss. To lose Thiago is a key loss. To lose the centre-back's a key loss. We lost Alisson for periods, and I know how you feel about Adrian coming in, but was key loss. You've
just mentioned Thiago, Jota, Gomez, and Van Dijk. So let's forget all the other injuries that we've had on the side and COVID as well, right? Because we've had a fair few others missing: Trent, Alisson, Mane, right? So forget them. All right, we'll call them usual, right? Injuries that every club has. And even the viewers and listeners in the chat, I want viewers and listeners and you as well to take out equivalent of 4 of the teams around us and see where they end up. Do they still end up on top of the table where we are now? I have every reason to say no, they don't.
No.
And so that's what I'm trying to say. You take out. So let's who's second right now?
Man U are up there. I don't know if they're second, but they're the threat, let's say.
So we take Bruno Fernandes, Rashford,
take out De Gea.
Yeah. Where do they end up without these players? Think about it. We need to, and it's okay. I get we should only concentrate ourselves, and people are going to throw off comments in the chat about, oh, we don't care about anyone else. Well, we've got to give some context. We've got to give some explanation onto what and why this is, and I've just named you 4, and I've just named you 4 players that I've just been generous and named 4 players. We could easily name 7 and 8. I'm talking first team stroke squad players, important players, but I've just named you 4, and you take out those 4 of the teams, they'd be in a worse position. So yes, there's absolute credit to this team to be where we are, have reached where we are in given the circumstances. But it's come to a point where now the players are slowly coming back. And yes, we've got the 2 men at the back that are going to be 3 men at the back now. That's going to be absolute struggle how we replace it for the rest of the season if we don't go into the transfer market. Maybe we can touch upon that. But with the rest of the players in midfield coming back and Jota a few weeks away, it's crucial now that Klopp gets his team selections, his rotations, his substitutions right.
Yeah, very true. Matt Hayes from the Tottenham blog, friend of the show, was thrown in a super chat there. Are you concerned about the fatigue more so than usual, considering you had 8 days off before West Brom? Look, Matt, I don't know. I spoke the other night on the show, Grizz, and said, Liverpool are a rhythm team. They need to be playing and keeping in rhythm. But that's in the normal season. I mean, this is just.
Yeah.
I think fatigue is going to kill Liverpool. I know 8 days off before the game. I think Matt might be having a bit of a laugh there, but I think it's a hard one because there's guys that need a rest. We spoke on the Fatback 4, I think, the other night about Fabinho, like by playing Nat Phillips or Reece Williams and, tossing up between the two. That's all well and good. And you'll say, well, Reece Williams is a young lad. He's done well when he's played. Nat Phillips is a bit older, a bit more developed. He's done well when he's played. What that does is it puts more pressure on Fabinho to have to nearly do his job. He's not a centre-half, but he's doing his job. And he's also having to nearly babysit his partner as well. And it puts more pressure on Fabinho, puts more strain on Fabinho.
Yes, it does.
So what the fatigue thing is building and building. Jordan Henderson, Gini Wijnaldum, they're playing and playing and playing. Andy Robertson. Do you know what I mean? Like, we haven't had a chance. We actually built our squad. We've done our transfer business in the summer. And people are going to cry out about the centre-back. We should have bought a centre-back. We should have bought a centre-back. If you'd have bought a centre-back, you could have got injured, right? So it's a pointless argument. But we bought the players we bought. We bought Tsimikas to give Robertson a rest. We bought Thiago to unlock teams. And we bought Jota to, give the front 4 or the front 3 a rest as well. And none of them have worked out yet for injuries. You know what I mean?
Of injuries, they've not worked out because of we got the wrong player in. We scouted.
They all look like the right players. Yeah,
they all look like fantastic players. I mean, everyone, I'm sure, wants to go and do some pregnancy tests tomorrow morning after watching Thiago play for 15 minutes. Do you know what I mean?
Jamie Holmes having a lie down in a dark room.
Jamie's breathing heavily. Yeah, we heard him. He was having kittens watching Thiago play. But do you know what I mean? Jota was, had claims to be player of the season after 6-7 games. The way he started off, an absolute house on fire. We just can't cater for sort of the injuries we had and the effect they've had on us. But as Klopp says, and we all say, there's no point crying about it now.
Exactly.
The worst of it is over. you'd like to think, someone said in the chat, I don't know if people can confirm this, that James Pierce has said, what's his name? Joel Matip is out for 3 weeks. If that's the case, then that's a major boost. Okay, 3 weeks, may go into 4 or 5 weeks for Matip, but at least it's not. But at least it's not months. So I don't know if someone can confirm that if that's the case. But with Ox coming back, with Shaqiri coming back, with Thiago coming back, hopefully Jota by the end of January coming back, we've got to just slug it out, Keith. And this is why I was desperate to. Tonight's result would have been far more easier to take if we had absolutely done what we absolutely had to do against West Brom.
Yeah,
This makes the West Brom result look absolute. The two combined results makes us sort of feel as worse as we felt as Liverpool fans for 2 seasons, maybe.
Exactly. But and that's the thing. That's the thing, Grizz, isn't it? We all forget that, these results, this isn't a normal season. This isn't the normal Liverpool hook up by crook. We have to stay in the race until the business end and see where we are then. And then we can make a good judgment. Dara C throws in a super chat there. Fair play to you, Dara. Happy New Year, lads. Keep up the good work. Have a few cans on me. Well, Grizz will have a can of milk. I'll have a can on you, and Gav will drink the rest.
Exactly.
But thanks very much, Dara, for this.
Happy New Year to you, Dara.
Happy New Year. And, hopefully things pick up.
That's a proper Irish name, right, Keith?
Dara. Yeah. Be a good word.
That's a good Irish name, Dara.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, Happy New Year to you, fella, as well. Thank you for that.
Yeah, thanks for that. We appreciate that.
Okay, so Free World is saying he did, Grizz. I'm assuming that's the answer to the question about Matip. So that's good. 3 weeks away. Someone said earlier in the chat, we can't go into the Man United game with Phillips or Williams. Well, what choice would we have? Do we have throw Hendo in there? Possibly, maybe. But, we discussed it just before we came on. Phillips didn't do bad overall.
He just didn't do good. He was what he is.
He is, exactly it.
He is what he is.
We got to accept that he's a proper old school clogger, and he done what he had to do. But you see, and in games like this where the margins are so fine, you miss the passing range of Virgil or even Gomez. The switch. I don't think either of our centre backs done one switch in the game. Sort of to either fullback. I don't know if you recall one. I didn't recall one.
Yeah.
And these are small margins that make a difference, where they've got everyone under control, and they were letting Phillips have as much ball as he wanted because they knew he couldn't pick out a pass. And bless him. Yeah, he's playing for Liverpool, and I shouldn't laugh, but his passes, even his basic passes, were into the feet of players as opposed to just in front of them. Just killing off that momentum to where you start off a move and the pass is slightly behind and Fabinho had to go behind, or Trent had to check back, or Robertson had to check back.
It just slows and stops everything down, doesn't it? It cuts it in its path. Ramez Khalil threw in a super chat there saying Klopp confirmed Matip back in 3 weeks. Are we still in for a fourth centre back in January? What do you think about that, Grizz? Can you see us doing that in January? Would you like to see us doing that in January as centre back? Considering Matip back in 3 weeks, Matip could be gone then a week later. We know what is.
Well, this is it. This is it.
Would you like to see them do that in the January around the centre back?
If you ask me, would I like to? I'd say, wow, of course. I'd like to have something lined up on the first day of January. Do you know what I mean? I hope or wish we had. Look, from the old lady in the CAF that tells me bits and bobs. She told me we weren't going to do something, but the Matip injury kind of changed their minds, and we were in the market, and we will be active in the market. And I hope that comes to fruition. We desperately need another body. That sounds so un-Liverpool like, Keith. Like, we don't work like that.
No.
Right, I know what you're going to say because you've spoke to me about this in the past, where you say, "Well, Grizz, we don't just bring in someone just for the sake of it, but needs must sometimes."
Yeah. Couldn't agree more, Grizz. Couldn't agree
more. It's one of those situations where I don't want us to look back at the end of the season and we've lost the title by 3 points, let's say, where we've conceded a goal where young Williams or Phillips has made a mistake or been outpaced or outstrengthed. Because even these things are so weird how it works, Keith, because the goal we concede against West Bromwich Albion, now Matip was marking the huge fella from the back every set piece. But that had to change when Matip went off. Yeah. Fabinho had to go and mark him, but Fabinho, we know,
difference there
and there's a huge difference. So these small things, some people maybe not appreciate that these small things make a massive difference. I think you've got a super chat there if you want to read that out.
We have, Kieran Thorne thrown in there. If you remember what he said after Gomez went down, it's going to be ugly, but let's see where we are mid-January. Going into 2021, we are top. I'm happy. And you know what? That is a key point, in my opinion. And I know I'll get accused all the time of being too positive, being afraid to criticize. I'm not afraid to criticize. My opinion on these things is, you take stock and you see where you are. You don't throw the toys out of pram because you get a few bad results. The sign of the fact that we're still top, as Kieran says, it shows the mentality of this team. Even though we're going through the shits, it shows the mentality of this team that we're still thereabouts. Man United are having to play out their skin to be up there. Spurs were playing out their skin to be up there. City haven't kicked on yet and they're still just a bit away. We're absolutely on our arse and we're still top of the league. So we have to look at the positives in these things.
Well, but there's no point looking at the negatives, is there? The negatives will only bring you down, bring your mood down, bring your family's mood down, your mates' mood down around you. There's only so much we can do as supporters and fans, and in fact, there's very little we can do as supporters and fans apart from support. Exactly. What we're supposed to do. Yeah. That's our job. Yes, we can discuss it in sort of shows like this. We can criticize them on nights like this. We can vent, but there's not much we can do. We got to leave it. We got to leave it to the capable hands of Klopp. Look, everyone's allowed a bad couple of weeks. Yeah. I think he's had a bad couple of games. Yeah. I'm his biggest fan, so he's not immune to criticism. Some people refuse to criticize Klopp. I'm not one of those. Yeah. I'm a realist, I'll criticize my own brother, my own father. Do you know what I mean? It's one of those things, isn't it? You got to be real. I'll take the super chat. You took the previous one.
Go ahead.
Not that I'll get it, but you know what I mean. Man United are like Leon underdogs. Harry Gillingham says, I beg your pardon. Man United are like Leon underdogs. Liverpool have shocking, just like PSG. Leon are top of the league and are underdogs. Are they not? Man United, you can go top. I'll let you take that or make sense of it.
I think what Hardy is saying there, you're killing us without these full stops, Hardy. I think what Hardy is saying there is that in France, like you've got Lyon are the Man United, they're the underdogs, and we're the PSG. It's a scandalous comparison, in fairness. Man United with that bottomless pit of wealth are definitely the PSG that are Lyon. But that Lyon are top, or Lyon are the underdogs, and they're chasing PSG down, or they're ahead of PSG, and United can do that with us. And look, we're not saying they can't. The reason they're up there is that we're sort of not kicked on. And look, that it is what it is. We have to hold our hands up to that. We're not saying, it sounds like I'm rubbish in Man United, but 2 weeks ago it was Spurs. Do you know what I mean? 2 weeks ago it was Chelsea. Before that was Chelsea. All the challengers are coming and going, and we just have to make sure that we're there, I think, as Kieran says.
We've missed a super chat there, Keith. I don't know if you can bring it up on your screen.
There, yeah, I'll get that, Grizz. It's
if we don't sign a centre-back one.
Yeah. Right. If Liverpool don't sign a centre-back in January, we are waving the white flag at the season. I don't agree. I don't agree with that. I don't think we've said this a minute ago, Grizz. You said this a minute ago. We do not sign for the sake of signing. Now, if we don't sign a centre-back in January, I don't think it's waving any white flag at the season. I think it's maybe wrongly Klopp putting faith in Matip and Matip's body and the two young lads there. Do you think we're waving the white flag if we don't sign a centre-back? Now, I know we've said we'd like to sign a centre-back, but if we don't, are we waving a white flag?
No, because that would mean surrendering, and we're not
Yeah.
surrendering. I don't think that's the right way.
I know,
Of
and
putting it.
maybe we're probably taking it too literal than what Jonathan
Yeah.
actually meant.
Yeah, we're not. I guess I know what he means in terms of
Yeah.
that's blown our chances to win the league. It hasn't. It wouldn't.
No.
But I will say it will severely harm our chances, in my opinion.
Or if we
Because
flip it the other way, it'll severely help our chances if we do. So maybe there is a point, you know what I mean? If we do sign a centre back, it'll give us that
look, I
shot
know
in the arm.
I'm not one of these kids that sort of just lives for transfers. Some people may disagree looking at my Twitter sometimes, but Keith, I'm not going to sit here and say if we sign a centre back, we'll get it 100% right, and he'll be ready to step in to this team, which is one of the most organized teams in world football, usually, and the way we play in defense, and hence why defenders take time. Unless you're Virgil van Dijk, you're the best defender in the world. How we play, how we mark on set pieces, which line to play, offside line, when to play the offside, when not to, when to drop. All these things are so technical, and our coaches are magnificent in what they do. But we can't guarantee that even if we go into the market, we're going to find a centre back that's going to just walk into the team and be able to perform from day one. But what it will do is give us another body, give us time, and you have to acknowledge that our acquisitions have been spot on. So you'd like to think the acquisition, our scouting, the list that they may have of 3 or 4 centre backs that we can target in January, will be able players that will be able to assist us in the coming season. I don't think it will be surrendering, but I think it will be bordering negligence if we don't address the situation this summer, unless they are absolutely sure. And I don't know how they can be, that Matip will remain absolutely fit, Fabinho will remain absolutely fit, and Virgil will be the Virgil that we knew from day one.
And he's back in the start of March. There's no way of saying. There's no way of saying all them things. And if you're looking at centre backs, Grizz, I see Braemar off Torino getting linked again today. I think you shared that with me earlier. The Brazilian lad at Torino being linked. Is it a stopgap? I don't know. Can we get a top target? We see all these names that were being linked with. If we can't get a top target, what do we do? It's a hard one to really.
I don't know.
I'd bring one in. I'd bring one in, to be honest.
But as you said, it's hard.
What. Yeah, it's hard. Like everyone says, Per Shores, or they say Botman, or they say Upamecano, Konate. It's going to be very hard to get them out of teams. Skriniar got mentioned.
Yeah, I mean, Keith, Gav and Jamie last night were saying, this was Gav's thinking, and I slightly disagreed with him. I don't think it's easy as that. Gav was saying whatever plans we had for summer, we literally just bring them 6 months earlier. But that's our plans.
Yeah.
That may not be the selling club's plans.
Yeah, exactly.
So for example, I know for a fact, because a little old lady tells me in the cafe, that we want Upamecano.
Yeah. But
our plan was to go and get him in the summer.
Yeah, which makes sense because the buyout clause triggers the.
Yes. So people are saying, well, let's go and pay the 15 million pound more that it would take. Well, no, because we're playing them.
Yeah.
We also shown interest in the past. I know some people thought it's recent, but we have shown interest in the past in Konate. Again, we're playing them. So that rules them out. Per Shurs has said, I'm not ready to leave Ajax. Maybe that's all bravado. Maybe that's just talk. But even then, if he's anything about him, maybe he wants to spend another season on and develop his game and come in the summer. You gotta think from not only the buying point of view, but the sellers. They have to be ready to let go of their players. We may have interest. The Bremer, I don't know if you remember, I told you about the Bremer link a couple of months ago, and it's come out today. We are interested in him. I haven't seen much of him. From what I've seen of him, I don't rate him. He's very much in the Kabak mold of defenders where
I think he's a bit more cultured than Kabak, but yeah, I get what you're saying, and that's the thing. Like, is it a Kabak? Is it a Bremer? And now we just thrown 15, 20 million at a player that we ultimately don't want, and that's the worry. You know what I mean? Not that we don't want, but you know, people don't want to talk about it, but Joe Gomez's career could be finished right at the top. For all we know, and that's not me saying I know his career's finished, or me being a doom merchant and saying his career's finished, and saying we don't know, we're not hearing that. Liverpool might need to buy that star centre back for next summer, so that's why they might be putting their eggs in the basket. I'm going to let you take care on Super Chat there, Grizz, because I know it's something that is close to your heart.
Well, Kieran says, Klopp's, thanks Kieran for the Super Chat, man, you're a legend. Klopp's subs and timing of them, they don't appear to make sense, but the subs he is making are players coming back from injury. Is he managing their game time rather than have Jake, Kane, etc. on the bench? What was the first thing I said about Klopp's substitutions? I mean, I tweeted it, so I said it's fair to say Klopp made the wrong team selection, in my opinion, and he made his substitutions were poor. The timing and the players, but it's difficult to go overly critical about the substitution unless you know the state of the fitness of the players that were on the bench. You know, to us it seems as though Ox should have been okay, fit. He's been training for 3-4 weeks. To us it seems Thiago has been fine. Unless we know the exact level of their fitness, you know, it's easy to criticize. I thought they were poor. But, you know, he can have poor moments. I'll let you carry on. Sorry, I'm just going to have a cough and
Walk away. I thought you were building up to something there, Grizz. But no, we have been critical, maybe not on the show, but we will be now. You know, the substitutions haven't maybe made the most sense in the world. I get where Kieran's coming from. It does seem like there's a lot of pre-planned subs. The one that got me was the West Brom game, when we just made subs that didn't make sense, when we brought Origi on at the end, which didn't make any sense to me. And I know we were forced with the defensive change, and then Ox comes in, and Ox done well enough when he came in for the lad who's been out injured. But, you know, the Divock one is one that really left me scratching my head.
But Keith, today, so talking about scratching heads, we're 0-0. By the 65th minute, Newcastle had run out of steam ideas in terms of going forward. So it was inevitable that the last half an hour would be all about if we can raise the tempo, raise the speed of pass, and have anything in attack. And what does he do? He takes off Jones, and you think that's the right call.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, he takes off Jones, the first subs, isn't it?
Yeah, Jones goes off for.
He takes off Jones, and you think he should have done that probably at half time or whatever. And you think to yourself, Ox, Shaq, Minamino, right? Let's say Thiago's only good for the last 15, right? Which is fair assessment. And he goes and brings on Gini Wijnaldum. Yeah. Now,
the game wasn't crying out for a Gini Wijnaldum.
It wasn't crying out for a Gini Wijnaldum, Keith. It really wasn't. It was asking for a lively Minamino.
Yeah.
A cultured Shaqiri pass, or a long shot of Ox.
Yeah.
That's what he was asking for. And
it was crying out for everything other than what Gini brings.
Other than the safety element of Gini.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Keep it ticking over, keep it moving, get the ball, boom, 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 boom. But, you know, yeah, dead right, Grizz. We were looking for anything but that. We were looking for a spark. We were looking for something to happen and to set one up. Now, I keep forgetting there was a match on tonight because we're just rattling through the chats. Before we go on, Dull Inco says, such nonsense, men not signing a centre-back in January means extreme negligence from FSG and Klopp. Stop beating around the bush. We know Matip won't stay fit. We did say Matip won't stay fit. But
I don't think we beat around the bush. We said it's
we said it, yeah, exactly.
You know, I don't know what you want us to say.
With you know, it's we've had this dance before with not signing players last summer, and we went and won the league, not signing the year before that, and we won the Champions League, not replacing Coutinho at the time. You know, we've been here, done that. I'll trust that they know what they're doing. My take, and I know Grizz's take, is we would like to see a centre back coming in, and we'll just have to wait and see what happens with that. But Grizz, we were talking about the match there. As I said, I forgot there was a game on. Curtis Jones goes off, Genie comes on. Maybe not the right move at the time, but we were on top at that stage, weren't we? And it did take that little, little bit of guile or a bit of craft maybe to just open up Newcastle, because they were camping in. But we did get through them a few times. There was a few chances in the first half. I know Salah went through, and while Carl Darlow makes an amazing save, he shouldn't have been given the opportunity to make that save, in my opinion. It's a criticism I've had of Mo for a while. Look, he's banging in goals. I'm not going to say he's not. He's banging in goals, but he's not clinical in those situations enough.
He's
just off form. No, I was going to finish that he's just badly off form, isn't he? I'm not going to slaughter Mo Salah because he's a great player. He's having a good season, but he's just badly off the boil, and you expect a finish better than the one he done, because he scuffed the finish, he scuffed the shot, and Darlow gets his hand on it, but like, he does scuff it. You know what I mean? It wasn't a clean strike by Mo, which is something that he doesn't tend to do very often.
You're talking about the one in the first half.
The first half, yeah.
Yeah, look. How many times have we seen him sort of take that ball out of the air and just calmly slot it away? He very rarely blasts it from that situation, or sort of does anything different. But he does it with such efficiency. Normally, he doesn't have to do anything different. I guess from a goalkeeper's point of view, you kind of can start reading that as well eventually, because of his, he does that so well. He always tends to score 80-90% of the time. You've got to just put it down to a brilliant save, brilliant reaction. If Alisson made that save, we would be absolutely creaming ourselves. Yeah. So we've got to be fair. The keeper done amazing.
He does do a great job.
Look, overall, Salah, I've been worried about him, and people may jump on my back, but I don't really give a shit. I've been worried. I've been kind of concerned, worried that he's made something for himself where people are going to start blaming his form, if it continues, on the interview he done.
Yeah.
And he brought it upon himself. He didn't need to do that. He didn't need the pressure. He didn't need the limelight of that. He was quiet. Salah was known, Mane is known, Bobby's known to just get their heads down. Nothing in the media about contracts, about anything else, about captaincies, about anything else. What we were known for is fucking scoring goals. That's all we were known for, right, Keith? And since that interview, he's given armory to enemies of his, and it's you can tell the medias are not his friends, and they're not Jurgen Klopp's friends, despite what opposition fans think. And he's given them armory just to take pot shots at him now. And the only person who can fix this now is Mo Salah himself.
Exactly, yeah, it's a great point. And even before that, Grizz, if you go back to the COVID situation, people use the excuse of, he got COVID and his finishing hasn't been great since. His finishing wasn't great before that, for being honest. But the COVID thing was another situation that, something that didn't have to happen, going to his brother's wedding. I'm not telling him what he can and can't do, but that seemed to be the frustration from Klopp about the COVID due to that. These little things that we haven't been getting, they are creeping up, and they are building up.
They tend to be microanalyzed when you go through a patch like this. And these are the same things that made us superhuman.
Yeah.
Not only as individuals, but as a collective.
Yeah.
That we never had any sort of gaps between our teams in terms of any doubts about our camaraderie, our relationship between the players. Nothing leaked out.
Yeah.
Now you're seeing bits, and you don't need that. You just don't need it. And sometimes, and I don't know about you, but even though I'm not a body language expert, you can kind of sense it in Klopp's body language towards Mo, and vice versa too. And if it starts affecting the rest of your teammates, even if it's 1 or 2%, these are the fine small margins that are the difference between us being top of the table and us being 10 points clear top of the table. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Very true. Phil Murphy throws in a super chat. Thanks very much, Phil. Happy New Year, lads. Great show as always. Up the Reds. Same to you, Phil. Happy New Year. I hope everyone listening has a great New Year, the safe New Year and all that tomorrow. Although we're in lockdown, so you're not going to be able to do much over here. I don't know what you use like over there, Grizz. Using
same. We're in absolute, lockdown. It's going to be a miserable one. But listen, we were hoping Liverpool make it the build up to it, but They didn't do their job today, and it's not often. It's not often. Listen, it's how many times have we felt like this in 2.5, 3 years as a Liverpool fan?
Yeah, it's
what I mean.
And that's it. And I think people are too spoiled. We've said it. I think, and that's not a dig at people who get annoyed. And some fans flip out. We have a WhatsApp group, and some of the lads go absolutely apeshit watching a match, even when we're winning. People react whatever way they want, but sometimes we can get a bit spoiled by the lads and what they've been doing for us, that we forget everything that all the good work they've done. Like I said, with Klopp, the media are out for Klopp now because of some of his comments. The Mo is no longer the white knife, for want of a better word. They're looking for every little bit of dirt on Mo and every bit of body language, as we've said. It's all getting picked apart. So it's just a bad period we're going through. But in the match, Bobby has a chance as well, and Darlow makes a great save in the first half. A header keeps it out, and we were starting to get into the game. Second half comes along, and we have more chances. Now, the comment was up there, Adrian, we're spoiled and we have a lot of injuries. Calm down. Yeah, we have it. The injury thing, we said it. I don't want to keep using it as an excuse, but it is at this stage where we're still top of the league. It's a fact. We're top of the league, and we're decimated. So we just have to accept that and get on with it. But someone made a comment. You had a comment up there, Grizz, about Trent's form, and that's something that I wanted to touch on. I thought Trent was absolutely poison again tonight. I thought he was brutal. You touched on something about Phillips' passes were always just in behind them, maybe, and wedding into a stride. But one of the big issues we've had is that our fullbacks have been. Andy Robbo's had a great season, but he's starting to hit the brick wall now. Trent, I think he's been off the boil now all most of the season, if I'm being honest. I don't think he's had a great season. He's had some good performances, but what we're not doing and what we didn't do tonight, last season when we were marmalading teams, the fullbacks were getting the ball, and it was a switch from left to right, and the defence were having to shift over, and it was a switch back, and you have to switch, and that tires an opposition out. And that's how you break the low block team, because you're moving them around. You move a low block team around, they get tired, they make mistakes. We're not doing that now, and they're not having to move. They're not. West Brom didn't have to move during the Grizz. They were able to park their bus.
You're bang on.
Newcastle didn't have to do much.
You're bang on. That's another thing we lack from not having Virgil and Gomez, who were absolutely superb at that.
Yeah.
As I said to you, I don't remember either centre back playing a horizontal ball to the other fullback. Yeah. I don't know if anyone else does. Look, Trent's. It's clear to see Trent's not in a good moment. Trent does need time usually to build up his momentum. We know he had a bit of a setback with the injury. Since he's come back, he's not been the usual Trent. But the thing with Trent is you try to keep him on the pitch as much as you can, because he's capable of the most amazing pass. And he done one pass which was Ali McCoist, nearly went to the
first half, was it, when he
went to heaven over it. Oh yeah. And he's capable of that, and that's why you keep him on the pitch. You give him the ball as much as you can in the hope that you can see the frustration again on his face. He knows he's not at the top of his game, but hopefully it's a blip. And again, just like a few other players, I thought Hendo was poor again today. Just no rhythm, no tempo in his passing. Milner, bless him, was done well. I thought Milner was okay. Yeah. A little Terry around the pitch, intercept.
I thought his passing was good. I thought Milner was trying to move it quick, a bit sharper than Hendo was. Yeah, but you know what, Chris, we've said about Salah, we said about Mane, Trent, Henderson. you know, they've had a long couple of years, a hard couple of
Of course
years.
they have.
It's, you know, this is just unfortunate that it's all culminating now. That they're all sort of a bit stuffed at the moment, but we'll get through it, no doubt. RS1 has a super chat there. Thanks very much. As Grizz said, we've not felt like this too often. It's a long season and we need to keep our heads up and focus on ourselves. Forget about the table. And that is an excellent point. We need to forget about the table. The only thing we need to remember is what top. Do you know what I mean? Like, and let's get through this period, see where we are afterwards, and then we can make the difference.
We've got a great comment here. We've got a great point from Lennon D'Souza, and he says, has there ever been a team that has had 2-3 major injuries and won the league? I feel in recent histories, all teams have had great injury luck when winning the league, including us. Fantastic. One of the points of the chat of the evening so far.
I agree. You know, and Man City fans will claim, you know, oh, we won it without Company. Company was finished at that stage, and he came back and got the goal that won the league for them 2 years ago. But he was, you know, he wasn't getting games. You know what I mean? It's hard. Man United would have always, I suppose, had injuries, but never to key men at the same time. And it's unprecedented, sort of what's going on.
Now you was talking about the chances, and then in that last 20 minutes, we had to. I'm not going to overpraise Liverpool by saying that we raised the tempo, because we should have raised the tempo much earlier. But we raised the tempo, and there's a couple of incidents in the box from corners where the keeper makes a save, and there was one incident where it could have fallen to Mo Salah, you know, and it doesn't. And another one where it could have fallen to Mane.
Yeah, and this is a key incident, I think, Grizz. This
absolutely. And this is related to this point from Ben Jones, who says, why don't our players complain more when they foul us in the box? Now, I don't know if Ben Jones is referring to the incident we're about to touch upon, but we've got to be more sharp and wily and more streetwise, Keith, in situations like that. Mane goes down there. There has to be a penalty because it stops him from getting the ball. Now, how many times do we see when attackers and forwards go down knowing they're not going to get the ball?
Danny Welbeck.
Yet the referee can't judge if they're going to get the ball or not. So what they have to do is base it on the foul. And
Danny Welbeck goes down at Brighton because he feels contact and he knows if he goes down, they're going to check and they're going to give a foul. Now, my take on this, Grizz, is I think, and I'm only basing this on a pure guess, I think Klopp has told them not to go down because our players are not getting any decisions. They're being called divers. We're not getting them.
And it's getting into our heads, you think?
I think it's he's saying, look, there's no point in going down because you're not going to get the decision. Stay on your feet and try and get the goal. Mane has done it. Salah has been getting kicked around the place. The Fulham goal a few weeks ago, Salah gets pushed in the back, 2 hands, pushed off the ball, they score. Doesn't even get checked. Do you know what I mean? Like, we do not get.
I hope he hasn't. I hope he hasn't, because that would be.
Because we're not doing it. Like, we're not fucking doing it.
I don't
we
think
should be going
Klopp.
down under
I don't think
any
it's
challenge.
Klopp, Keith. I don't think it's Klopp, Keith. I don't think he's told them to go down or not go down. I think our players are just too honest, Keith.
They're
just too honest. Honestly, Milner has it in his game. Henderson knows when to do it. You know, our forwards don't. You know, Mane and Salah are awful at it when they do it. You know, they need some practice. They need some coaching from Harry Kane.
They can both read. They know the criticism they get whenever they go down for any contact. And look, I can't think of many times they've actually dived. Do you know what I mean? In the rules of the game, the contact is contact.
I just want to read an outburst from Barry Devaney, who says, we've been the best team in England in the last 3 years. Give me a break dissing our guys. We need to support them now more than ever. I don't know which show Barry's been listening to. You know, he hasn't been listening to our show, obviously. You know, when we won, we've said that's all we can do. We have to support them. But you know, otherwise, look, if you just sit there and not be able to criticize or vent, then it's just going to be built up inside you, and you're going to take out another thing. So, Barry, there's nothing wrong with a bit of venting when it needs to be vented, you know. And I think tonight and the last game, there is
certainly warranted it.
Certainly warrants a bit of criticism. But overall, we know we're the best team in the world and we love it.
Well, that's it. And something that, you know, Ferguson's United team's done it for years, Grizz. Be in the mix come February, and then once you're in the shake up at that stage, not who gives a shit, but we won the league, as you said earlier on. We won the league with this stage last year. That's not how leagues happen, and
It doesn't. That's an anomaly. That's an
not how leagues
absolute
happen.
anomaly. Barry Devon he's been at good books. Barry Devon is backing up good books because he says in the fans, he's talking about the fans, not the Daytrippers. Sorry about that. I apologize then, Barry. Yeah. But yeah, look, what we done last season is unprecedented. We can't gauge or base every season on that. That was special, absolute special. Yeah. And therefore, it's very unfair on these group of players to sort of, judge them on last season. We got to judge it on what we are now, where we are now. And where we are now is still top, but we've got this, we've had a third of the season that's been a nightmare in every aspect in terms of injuries and COVID. Yeah. And so, we got to give them
the team, and that was an anomaly. We got our arses handed to us, but people, no one can tell me, no one can look me in the face and say Villa are a 7-2 better team than us. On the night they battered us because we had ADRIAN in goal, had a bit of a mare. Everyone had a mare. I'm not blaming ADRIAN, but everyone had a mare, and it was just a bad day at the office. But that's the only defeat we've had. We're dropping points, we're dropping silly points, but we're still the best team in the league, in my opinion. So someone had a comment up there a minute ago about Salah diving. I'm not saying that they don't dive, they go down under contact maybe too easy and too theatrically, but the game changed. Diving is when you go down with no contact. You feel a contact, you go down, you get a penalty. It's we don't like it. I don't like the way the game has gone, but that's the way the game has gone.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, we need to touch upon the main positive. I guess the only positive of the night before we wrap up. We got to speak about. Oh, Keith, we got to. I mean, it was so. It was so obvious to see as soon as he stepped on the pitch.
Yeah.
Not only the quality and difference in himself, but what he sort of done for the other midfielders and players. Suddenly we were getting runs. Suddenly we were getting runs from Salah and Mane in behind. And he tried to clip over. He played a couple of absolute beautiful weighted pass. What did you make of it?
Do you know what, Grizz? I found it very similar to his game against Chelsea. He didn't do anything spectacular, but everything he does, his passing form, right? His technique of passing the ball is spectacular in itself. So he comes onto the pitch, he's facing over one way, and he's drilling passes through the eye of a needle while not even looking the direction he's hitting it. And that's what he does. Thiago opens teams up from the centre of the park. He does the long balls out wide and, into the run. As we said about Nat Phillips wasn't hitting balls into the run. Thiago hits it he knows how to pass the ball. Now, he lost possession in the second half. They had a break on. He's back from, a horror tackle. He's been out for a good while. He's going to be rusty. But you've seen in the cameo, Grizz, what he offers to the team. The penetrating passes from the middle of the park from deep. When we start getting back to full fitness and we start clicking, it's going to be such a weapon and such an asset. And it was great to see him back in the team. It's
literally like sort of feels like the season starts now kind of thing.
Yeah.
With Thiago back in the team, fingers crossed we don't pick up any more injuries. Because when Jota comes back, Keith, and Mane and Mo find a bit of form,
yeah,
and Bobby stays on the level he is. I mean,
I think Bobby's been okay without scoring.
I think
his players been better. I think the last few weeks.
Most certainly, Bobby was for me still our best player today in attack. But Thiago makes the difference, and this is the reason why we bought a player that sort of wasn't an FSG type signing, and we spoke about it all summer. We saw clips of why we went that extra mile to get him and pay him or his club the money that we did when we could have waited for him for free because we thought it'd make a difference. But just a effing luck that it turns out that he's injured and we could have just waited for him to be on a free, I guess. But I think that was the main positive. There's no point ending on a negative. Do you know what I mean? I thought I thought his cameo was an absolute joy.
Owen makes a good point there as well. He looked and showed no effects of the injury. I think he helps Trent get back to form too. He'll find him in space where nobody else can. It's a great point because I've been critical of Trent. I think Trent's an amazing player. I think he's an absolute generational talent. I think he's unbelievable. He's just been off par maybe a bit so far this season, stop-start. But the Thiago passes into space will just free up Trent to get his delivery. It'll free up Robbo as well. He's going to open up. He's going to give us another dimension, and just hopefully he has no effects of the injury, because look, it was a horror tackle that put him out. People were crying why we weren't being told what the injury was. The recovery took longer maybe than people would have liked, and because they couldn't pin it down. And you said to me, the shin injury, it just kept flaring up whenever he'd go back into training. If we can get this lad fit and playing, I think it's a new dimension to our team, and it's what we've been crying out for. Look, unfortunately, we're not going to have full strength till next season, but it's one of the things that we need to get back, and hopefully Jota as well too, to give us something. Get all these bodies back, Grizz, and it changes the shit that we're having to look at the moment.
Well, exactly, but we call it shit because of the high standards and high levels we've set. Yeah. How many draws, how many teams are dropping points everywhere? Do you know what I mean? Or have done throughout the season. And, it's going to be, unfortunately, we have to face the reality and accept that it's going to be one of those seasons. I can see it going, like this until the last 6-8 weeks. And then, you'd like to think that if we're full strength for the last couple of months, no one's going to stop us, Keith.
Yeah.
If we are top and around top last 8 weeks, and we've got everyone except Joe Gomez back, can you see anyone stopping us? I can't.
No, because what
we do need for that to happen is a bit of luck.
Yeah, and that's what it is. You could even say it tonight, Grizz, that the feel good. It was a stinker of a game. The feel good factor of Thiago coming in, the ball was going to Thiago, and as you said, midfielders are making different runs. Fullbacks are making different runs. Forwards are making different runs. If we get Jota back in, right, Jota is going to open up. He's going to allow the front three to get a rest, and he's going to open up different options in the attack. It gives us more options. If we get Van Dijk back before the end of the season, that's a feel good. That's a boost. You know what I mean? That lifts everybody. So Absolutely. We've all these to look forward to. And maybe it won't happen, but that's what we have to look forward to. And look, I know people can say, "Oh, lads, I've been too blah blah." We're this or that. You have to look for positives in these things as well, because it's not the end of the world.
Well, I mean, we've
gone through the Hodgson area. You know what I mean?
I don't know what they want. I don't know what they want, and I don't want to go on the defensive and sound like we're going on the defensive. Like, if people have said that we've been too positive, then they're entitled to their opinion. But I think we've been very not harsh, but we've been very critical at the start. We've discussed the game and how they went, and we discussed how Klopp, in my opinion, had a howler in terms of team selection, in terms of substitutions. But then, as you go through the summary of the game, and there is an incident. I mean, so you've got to talk about all the incidents and everything, and one of the things that you've got to discuss is the introduction that was Thiago, and I thought that was something positive. There's no, there's no sugarcoating it. The overall result was very, very poor. But, the introduction of Thiago was quite good. I mean, look, the fact that the man of the match was their goalkeeper says it all at the end, and we were shit.
And even in that, Grizz, he was lucky. I mean, there was a header in the second half. I can't remember who done it. And he palmed it straight into the middle of the goal.
Yeah.
And 9 times out of 10.
Yeah, it was just to the right of Mo. Yeah, normally it was right to Mo's feet, and he would have done it. And there was a couple of times he done that in the first half as well. Look.
Yeah, he had a good game, the lad. Let's not, I don't want to rubbish his performance. It was a good game by him, but he got lucky on a few of them. And the one with the penalty, I mean, we didn't even really touch on it too much, but he's holding on to Mane's leg. Mane cannot get a tap in because the keeper's holding on to his leg. I don't know what VAR have to do, but
yeah. Do you want to? I'm going to ask you, because you always ask me normally, and Gav. Do you want to give me your man of the match after that shout? or discuss a few options or who it could have been? Or
yeah, I mean,
do we deserve to give a man of the match for Liverpool? I mean, I know it probably has to be a Liverpool.
Yeah, I mean it's hard. I thought from our lads, I thought Bobby was lively enough without being excellent. I thought Thiago comes on for 20 minutes and bosses it. I don't know. If I was forced to give it, I don't think anyone was great. Milner was decent. Robbo was decent. I'd probably go with Bobby myself. What about you?
Yeah, there's no point giving it to the same one that you've given it to. But then if we give it to another person, that means we think two people were actually worthy of praise. And I think the only other person worthy of praise for me was Fabinho.
Yeah, I was going to say he's. I keep forgetting that he's doing a babysitting job as well back there. And
it's not his position, Keith. We keep forgetting because it's making it look so easy. His decision making will get better and better. I know sometimes he's got in his mind that he's a pressing DM.
Yeah,
and he may go to the.
I know he only got a second yellow. He got a yellow card tonight. It was only a second one of the season, but sometimes you don't want him to be as pressing. Although he's done a great job of it so far. Maybe I'm nitpicking. I'm a huge Fabinho fan. I actually forgot about him when I was mentioning the other 4 or 5 players that I was giving credit to. But look, it's not a great night, but it's not the end of the world either, Grizz.
No, it's not. It's not. It's a bit of a damp squib to the end of the season, end of the year. Sorry, it was the last game. It's been such a record-breaking season. I mean, Mr. A's message up there I've put up, and I put out for a reason because he says, "Look, Happy New Year, guys. 2020 has been great. We won number 19. We go into 2021, top of the league. Positives." Even Klopp said, "Can't wait to see the back of 2020." Apart from the title win, and he's right. As you said, it's we wanted to sort of go into it with a bigger gap, but we've got a gap. We're on top, and we've got our players back, and there is just no point crying over spilt milk.
Exactly. I mean, people will say, oh, Man United are this, Man United. A few weeks ago, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was getting the bullet. You know what I mean? So every team is going through a period. There's no team that hasn't got criticism this season. It's us at the moment. We're there to be shot at. But I think with the squad we have, with the manager we have, the fact that we got over the hump last year of winning the league, and we know. And you know what, Grizz? If we do win the league this season, it's nearly a bigger achievement than the one last season because we've literally the criticism of last season was, you didn't get injuries.
It's the biggest.
Did this year?
It's the biggest. It's the biggest title win ever if we win this season.
Yeah.
It pales into significance. Anything else for me, anyway, personally, I won't stop celebrating. I won't stop celebrating this title win. It will be so fucking sweet, Keith. This one is the one. But listen, we've got every chance because, as we say, if we take it, if we sort of break this league down into thirds, and what is it? 16 played now? Is it 16? 17 played? Something like that.
It's 16. We've played 16, but
so it's just under half.
And Villa and City are on 14.
So if we talk about it and we break it down into sort of third, not even threes now, we can break it down because we've just played under half, right? Yeah. Just under half of the season gone. We go into the second half of the season, with all our players back, majority within a month. Obviously, Virgil van Dijk, give it another 8 weeks to 10 weeks, in my opinion. Another thing to get excited about. But we just got to stay in there. Yeah. And then the options come back, the chance of rotation comes back, and then we go again. And look, I can't see how we can doubt this team. The only thing that will stop us is injuries and COVID, etc. But if it's anything that this team, this squad can do, we'll do it.
We have a little Man U fan in the chat there, Football HD, and he's giving it loads. Fair play to him because, it's not been the best at times, but, United have to play Europa League as well.
I should bring up some of his comments. We'll chat to Football HD, or if he's gone, he's gone. United winning the league? Yeah, well, you're absolutely entitled to your wrong opinion. That's what it's all about. Everyone's entitled to their opinion, whether it's wrong, crap, right, shit.
Yeah.
And
the Thursday Sundays of the Europa League kick in, the United could be found wanting, but they've done well to get ahead. They're the latest challengers, but let's say that they're not a great team. They're not a great team. They've some good individuals.
Yeah, they're not a great team, but they've got good individuals. I'll give them that. I'm not gonna sit here and say Bruno Fernandes is not a fantastic player. I'm gonna. How stupid will I sit here and tell him
Marcus Rashford is a great player.
I love Marcus
Rashford. Talent.
Absolute talent. Yeah, exactly. So I'm not gonna sit here and say they haven't got great players. They have.
But we could say that about Tottenham. We could say that about Man City. We could say that about Chelsea. We could say that about I can't say Everton, Arsenal, but look,
David wants to know, Keith and Grizz, if by any chance we don't win the league this season, how do you think we'll go into the next season with everyone back from injury? David, I don't even want to think about us not winning this season. I'm sorry, but I don't even want to contemplate us not winning this season. I genuinely think we will.
Yeah, but it's for argument's sake, if we don't, it's not going to be the end of this team. Do you know what I mean? I think it's just like this has been a fucking annus horribilis. On to the next one and just build it and get there. I think it'll make Klopp hungrier personally, but we'll wait and see. So I think we'll finish up, will we, Grizz?
Yeah, we done well. Yeah, a bit of therapy. I think. Do you know what, Keith? The best part of this show tonight was we got away from our WhatsApp group because this was the best therapy we needed. Otherwise, if we carried on in there, it would have been absolutely mental. I would have probably smashed my phone everywhere. I probably would have flounced and left the group. Which
I wonder has anybody flounced tonight? I don't know.
We'll check when we get back. But
yeah. It's a murderer's row for anyone that hears about this WhatsApp group in the shows. Like it's like fucking another world, but the lads are all good crack and all passionate and all that. But my God, we'll get off this show. We look at that and there could be like 600 messages unread, and it's like not reading all them. As Grizz said, we got our therapy on here. Before we finish up, Grizz, we keep mentioning, Gav keeps mentioning the Keen Strong, hashtag Keen Strong goes across the ticker there. It's for anyone that doesn't know, there's a GoFundMe linked on our Twitter page and in the show description. It's for a young lad who's gone through horrific brain cancer. He got it out, I think, 5 months old. He's only one. I know people can't, if you can donate, brilliant, by all means do, but we're not looking to put pressure on people to donate. If you can share it, if you can share the tweet, if you can just get it out there, we're going to be doing a lot. We're going to keep putting it up until they get to that 100,000 I think it's dollar target for what they need for the little lads treatment and that. But we're going to be doing some stuff. There's going to be competition and raffles and all going on. We're getting together. It's going to be well worth keeping an eye out for that over the coming week. So definitely, if you, like I said, if you can share that about Kane or donate if you can, but we're not looking to put pressure on people to donate, but just keep it in mind that we're going to keep reminding people about it as it goes on and on. So look, Grizz, I think we'll leave it at that. We've done an hour and nearly 15. We didn't talk much about that match, which was nice.
Yeah, I know. Absolutely. Sometimes you don't need to sort of overanalyze a game that that wasn't your usual self, where you wasn't your usual self. Sometimes you just gotta accept it, take it on the chin, as they say, and move forward. I would have been more disappointed if we had everyone available, full strength team, no injuries, and we played like that. Then I would have been much more worried. I'm worried that it's a blip, but I'm not worried long term, if you know what I mean.
No.
I just want to say, I don't know if we've made a massive error in not checking on the likes, because we've had a healthy amount. We've had a healthy amount of people in the chat, and it takes fucking 1 second, half a second. I mean, there's still there's still 356 people in the chat. Press that like button and just do it now, man. Like, do it for us. We've had to talk about Liverpool after that. Made a huge effort to put on this show for you guys, and the least we can get is a like from you guys.
Subscribe.
It's Christmas, it's New Year's. Where's the spirit? Where's the spirit, Keith? I don't know where the spirit's gone these days. So just thank you, Leo. Meek just liked. Everyone just press the like before you go out. Exactly. Even if we just waffle for the last minute or so, just press the
just
like on your way
button,
out. Exactly. And just make us feel good. You know, we've tried to make you feel good about things. Hope we have given you a bit of therapy, but just do the like thing, man, for us.
That's it. We don't ask much.
No, we don't.
But look, Football HD is having a glorious time in the chat tonight. And you know what? We don't really, we welcome anyone in, you know what I mean? Once they're not, you know, abusive or anything, they're welcome in the chat and welcome to come on and listen. But, you know, he's talking some amount of guff in there. It's, I'd say he's only a young lad.
It's all right.
Fair play to him. That's all right with us. We're okay with that sort of nonsense. Grizz, we'll leave it at that. I don't think there's anything now until the Fatback 4 on Sunday. So
a few days off. Well earned.
So a happy new year to you and your family, Grizz. I hope you have a nice peaceful.
Absolutely, same to you, Quito.
Good stuff.
You know, unfortunately, we're thousands of miles apart.
Hundreds of thousands of miles,
but you know, we've become a very tight knit family. I love it. It's been a pleasure getting to know you this year. Yeah. You know, I don't want to start. I mean, you know, I don't want to start getting soppy on this stream. Everyone's going to think we could have done this off air, but why not do it on air? Like, who can stop us, right?
That's it. We're the balls.
We're the balls. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, and happy New Year to everyone in the chat who's been watching our shows, supporting us. You know,
it's really blown up, hasn't it, Grizz, in the last few months, and we appreciate all the support from everyone in the chat. We want to wish everyone a happy new year, to all yourselves, your families. Stay safe, you know what I mean? It's been a stinker of a year for everybody. It's been a hard year. A lot of people in that chat, a lot of people that will be on the shows have had a hard year, suffered in one way or another. See the back of this blade in 2020. Hopefully 2021 brings us a bit more you know, bit of happiness for people, a bit of relief for people.
Absolutely.
And the Reds can bring us another league title as well. So, you know,
absolutely. You know, again, it has grown massively, and we couldn't have done this without our listeners and viewership, you know. And you know, Owen Burke saying that Grizz going to make me cry now. Well, you know, I didn't mean to, but you know, yeah, exactly. Now that you mention it, but yeah, it's been emotional. It's been great. And the best thing we can do in times like this sort of is stick together, and hopefully have a even better, from a Liverpool point of view, 2021.
Exactly. Come on here, vent. We try not to rant, but you know what I mean. We try to be rational, and we don't throw the toys out with a pram.
Absolutely.
We just get on and have a chat, and that's what the community that we have. I hate saying community, but you know, the people in the chat, there's the same names are there. Kev O'Sullivan's name is up there, you know, Owen is there, Avo, all these guys that are there every night we're on, but new people that come in and join in with the chat and join in with the stuff, you know, it helps us grow the show and grow the podcasts that we do, and we try to put out as much good quality stuff as we can, and 2021 will try to even improve on 2020. So look, we'll leave it at that. A bit of soppiness at the end. We're over 200 likes, which is great, but you know, still hit the like button if you can, and we appreciate it, all the support. So Grizz, I'll bid you good night, and I'll talk to you soon, my friend.
We will indeed. See you later.
Take care, folks.